I'm Joseph, the moral philosopher. Today we are going to discuss the morality around the acquisition of Greenland by the United States. Well, to get into this, we're going to have to understand property rights because essentially a nation, the territory of any nation is going to be the claim of property by the collective group of people within that nation. So all the people make up the nation, and then they say, as a group, we own that. We're making claim to that as our property as a group. That's a nation. Okay, well, let's talk about individual property rights. What is property? Okay, I'm going to use this bottle of water. I have this bottle of water. That makes it mine, technically, in the objective sense. I have this, it's mine. Okay? Whether I bought it or stole it, it is still objectively in my hand, making it mine. Okay? Now that is what is objective, not necessarily what is going to be accepted. Okay? I own my house and the yard within it. Okay? What makes that mine? Well, one, I have it, but I'm not there right now. I'm not at my house. So ownership isn't simply holding it or even standing on it or being in the proximity of it. Okay, what else makes it mine? Well, I have a piece of paper that says it is. Okay, but what's to keep somebody else from just, let's say squatters. Squatters move in and they say, this is our house. We're here. We're using it. It's ours. We're using it now. We intend to use it in the future, and we are currently here. Now, societally, we say, well, they don't own that. But objectively, they control it at that moment. So is it theirs? Well, here's how this is the objectivity of that. My property, if I can defend my property and nobody can take it from me, then it's mine, objectively. Like I have it, bottle of water. As long as I can defend this, this is mine. If somebody takes it from me, I can say, that was mine, it's not mine anymore. Can I take it back? Yeah, but I probably wouldn't have got, well, if they stole it and I wasn't looking, I'm like, well, that's mine, I'm taking it back. And they say, no, it's mine, and they take it back. Imagine a couple 2-year-olds saying, no, mine, mine, and they're fighting over something. Whoever holds it in their hand, it's theirs at that moment. And then an adult might come and say, hey, you know what? That's not yours, give it back. So then what makes that their property is the willingness to enforce with force that person has that. Okay, same with the bottle of water. This is my bottle of water because if somebody tries to take it from me, I can stop them. But if I can't stop them, they'll take it and it's theirs, and there's nothing I individually would be able to do about it. Now I can go and try to get it back, right? And then we keep fighting over it. This is basically war, okay? If we're talking about land, it's war, or resources in general. Okay. With the parent analogy, the parent is like, think of the police department as the parents. Two people are fighting. I say, this is mine. They say, no, that's mine. And then it is mine so long as I can defend it, or if somebody else will defend it upon my behalf. So if I say this is mine, and then there's somebody who's armed next to me, police officer potentially, they say, hey, you know what? That is theirs, and I will help them defend it. Or if it's taken, I will help you take it back. So this is kind of the social construct around property. Property is essentially what I hold in my hand, what I can immediately control, what I'm using. Now, socially, how do we decide that? Well, we think that if you worked for something, it's yours. That's how property rights work. This is morally good. Like, this is the morality of property rights. If you work for something, then you should have that thing because that is fair. If somebody stole it from you, they didn't work from it, they have it, they didn't work for it, that is unfair. So we have a vice and a virtue. Fairness is a virtue. We have the virtue of unfairness. Then you also have, let's say, selfishness, right? They took it for themselves in a way that's harming others. So now you have a vice. So now it's morally wrong to do that. So theft is wrong. Okay, so morally wrong. Then you could have, besides, let's say, you could have destruction. They could, instead of taking it from me, they could destroy it. And then I can say, well, that pile of rubble is mine. Yeah, but who wants a pile of rubble, right? If I have a building and I say that building's mine, and somebody blows up that building, well, then I don't have a building anymore. So technically, I don't own it anymore, right? I can own the pile of rubble, right? But that ownership is taken from me objectively if I can't actually defend it. Okay, that building is only mine if I can maintain it, not just... So besides somebody blowing it up, let's say just over time a building falls down. If I maintain that building with my own effort, then I get to keep having that thing. If I let it be destroyed, I don't have that thing anymore. So objectively, ownership means to have something, I have to be able to defend it, not from just being taken, but also from being destroyed. Okay, I think that kind of gets us the idea of objectively what you own, and then also the social contract of that. Like I said, let's go into that just a slight bit more, right? So societally, I say, hey, I own this. I can defend it, but I need to go do other things. Can you defend it while I'm gone? Okay, so this could be police officer. Security, if you're a private company, this is going to be like maybe security. You have security, and the police are secondary. So you own that thing physically, objectively, not legally, but objectively, because you were able to defend it. Okay? You have a group of people, they say, hey, you know what, we need to keep the area safe so people don't come and steal from our property, but we also have things to do. We're going to get the people, that's going to be security, police, to look after that. So, and the people we are asking to protect it, now they could just say it's ours, because say if we pay them, they say, yeah, that's theirs because they paid us, and we're going to make sure they keep it. So that's maybe not always the moral way of doing it. It could be moral or immoral. It could be both, but it's practically true. Okay. So if we have a system where what I own is mine objectively, and then I have to be able to defend it, I have to be able to maintain it, and I also have people around me helping me do that. So example, the bottle of water, maybe I can protect this bottle of water, it's mine. Somebody is going to take it from me, and I'm like, maybe there's like 5 people, and they're going to take it from me. It's like, well, I can defend it from maybe one person, maybe a couple people, maybe I grab it and run, but maybe if there's a bunch of them, they're going to take it from me by force. So I ask all my friends and say, hey, look, I want this, and if you help me protect this, I'll help you protect your stuff, and now you have a community coming together to protect these things. And like I said, typically people have other jobs, so there's the police force or security that specifically do that thing. In a previous video, I talked about interdependency. That is this idea. It's like, hey, we're going to grow the food. You guys protect our tools so that when we're not using them, they don't get stolen. Otherwise, we can't grow the food. And it's mutually beneficial. Okay, so now let's talk about Greenland, because we've talked about what is objectively true and what is legally true, basically under a social contract. Greenland is mostly empty. Okay, I think it's like 50,000 people there or something like that. It's mostly empty. Does Greenland have I don't know if they have any military. They probably have some sort of security. They probably have some police. They probably have something. They're probably aligned with, because they're, their territory of Danish, what is that country? Denmark. That's the country. So Denmark is going to protect them, but Denmark's small, but they're part of NATO. So they say, hey, this is the group of people getting together to help ensure property, right? So can Greenland defend themselves? No, not from a big threat. Denmark help? NATO will maybe help, maybe, but maybe they don't agree to it. Maybe they say, you know what, Greenland doesn't actually help defend us. They're not capable, so we're not going to help defend them, right? That's a potential. Okay. I said before, objectively, if you can take something because people can't defend it, it doesn't matter what the law is. Now, it might not be moral, but it's yours objectively. This is conquering. You conquer a place. It's if people already live someplace, you conquer it. If people don't live there, you colonize it, right? You go to a new land, nobody's there, there's nobody defending it, there's nobody in it right then using it, and you say, hey, we're going to live here. With our effort, we're going to build something here. So this is good. Nobody's harmed from this. Actually, people benefit from this, especially the people who are colonizing it. And if they're good people, they'll benefit the people around them in theory. Okay, so how does this apply to Greenland? If you can't, objectively, if they can't defend their own land, it is only theirs if people are willing to defend it. Okay? You can say, well, legally they own it. Like, yeah, but objectively they don't. Objectively, you own something if you can defend it. Okay? If somebody comes and takes Alaska because we couldn't defend it. Russia says, hey, we're taking Alaska back, and we say, no, you're not. Then there's a war about that. If we can defend it, it's ours. If they take it and there's nothing we can do about it, then it's theirs. Doesn't matter what is morally right or what is legal, that's subjective truth of the situation. Greenland is no different. So is it, let's say, in theory, America could take Greenland. Nobody's going to be able to stop us, right? Nobody who would want to stop us would be capable, presumably. Okay, if we wanted it, it's ours. That doesn't make that morally good. That's just a truth statement of objective ownership. What is the morality? Okay, Trump says we need it for national security. This is, I'm going to say, most likely a true, objectively true statement. He wants to build missile defense to protect this country from long-range missiles or bombers or something like that would be come from Russia, which would come over the North Pole, right? Or come from China, which is in the same opposite side of the globe, still over the North Pole, right? So the quickest way for Russia to send bombs to America is going to not be east to west or west to east. It's going to be north to south. Okay, so we need a defense to that. So morally, we have, as Americans, or any country, you have the right to defend yourself. And you have the right to take precautions to keep yourself safe. So if it is necessary to keep ourselves safe by taking Greenland, and I'm not and I don't mean conquering necessarily. I'm just saying, from our perspective, we have an objective morality to keep ourselves safe. That is good for us, and our safety benefits many other countries. So it is a necessity for us to do that. So on our perspective, that's morally good. What would be immoral about this? Immorality would be us taking what somebody else has worked for with force. So this would be theft. If somebody takes my bottle, technically it's theirs now, but that we consider that theft. Societally, we say that was wrong. So in this situation, if Trump went in with soldiers and took Greenland, he could do it. Would NATO put up a fight? Probably not, because they need us for their own protection. Their safety would be hurt. Is that morally wrong for us to do that? Potentially, yes. Potentially, no. If other people own something because of their efforts. Let's say if we went in and took a city and say, that city that you guys built, we own that now. That is theft. Okay? If somebody has, let's say they claim a portion of empty land and they say that's ours. Well, they didn't earn it through any work, right? They didn't, it's not a building. They didn't build it. They colonized it? Well, not really. It's empty. They didn't actually build anything there, so it's not colonized. The only thing that makes empty land belong to somebody is the willingness for somebody to defend it. And the people basically to agree, say, I'm not going to take that from you, I think it's yours. Or if I try to take that from you, you will react and there would be conflict over that. That's the only thing physically, objectively making that theirs. Everything else is arbitrary social contracts and laws, and those things don't exist. You can't hold the concept of ownership. I can hold the bottle of water. I own this. If somebody takes it from me, there's nothing in my hand. I can say I own that, but there's nothing in my hand. My words have no meaning to them. Well, they don't mean what I would intend them to mean in that situation. So, for Trump to go in, as Americans, if we took the colonized part of Greenland, and some of the people are, so there's Danish people there, there's Europeans and stuff. There are people who are not native to Greenland, right? And I don't even know, we could talk about what it means to be native. That's a whole other thing, because everybody comes from somewhere else at some point. Really, I think if you personally are born there, you're native. I know that's maybe controversial, but objectively that's true, right? I was born in the United States. Objectively, I'm native to this place because this is where I was born. My parents were also born in the United States. They are Native Americans, technically, right? As far as Indian, that's a different story, but most Americans can trace a little bit of Indian blood in them too, and that's a topic for something entirely different. Okay, on this topic though, so you have people in Greenland. Some of them are native, some of them are immigrants. Okay, if they own the land they're on because they worked for it, or they was given to them by somebody else who worked for it, maybe just given freely or in exchange for something, right? As long as everybody recognizes that, then socially there's ownership. Can they defend it? Well, that means this is one of Trump's points. He's basically saying that Denmark can't defend Greenland. Greenland can't defend Greenland. NATO maybe could defend Greenland, but might not be willing to defend Greenland. Because it's not a NATO, Greenland's not a NATO country, it's a territory of a country, and whether or not they are willing to risk their lives to protect that, I wouldn't bet on it. And Trump is not betting on it. He's betting they won't. He's saying that to keep us safe, we need this. He doesn't think anybody else is either capable or willing to defend it. So, what does he say? He said, we're gonna take Greenland. Well, he doesn't necessarily, well, he hasn't ruled out anything. Because of the necessity of safety, that means you can do a lot of things as long as you're not harming other people, right? It would be for somebody to keep something that would keep us safe. In some ways, they're actually being a harm to us. Not directly, but sort of. So, would it be moral for Trump to buy Greenland? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, what about the people who say, hey, well, we don't want to be part of America? Well, again, objectively, can they defend it? That's one thing. I don't think you should impose, it would be tyrannical to impose your will on other people. What would be a moral thing that could be done that does not do that, that would still be conquering? I wouldn't call it conquering because nobody's there, right? So could we colonize Greenland? That's what I'm getting at. The answer is yes. We could do that. We could just literally go and start building things in Greenland and say, hey, this is ours and we're willing to defend it. Therefore, objectively, we own it. And if nobody else is going to defend it and keep us from doing that, then we can literally just do that. Is that morally wrong? No. Why would it be wrong? Did we hurt somebody in the process? Now, if we went in and took a city, People worked for that. They part of the morality of their ownership there, it's morally right for it to be theirs because they worked for it. That's the fairness, unfairness that I talked about earlier. Fairness is essentially the things that you work for are fairly yours. The things you didn't work for are not yours. And that doesn't mean if you plant a field and nothing comes up, you don't have ownership of the crops that didn't grow. You can maybe own the land, right? If you can defend it. And if people recognize that and willing to defend it for you. But maybe that's not fair. Well, it is. That's natural fairness. I worked, there was nothing produced. That's unfortunate, but it's fair. Okay. So in the morality of taking Greenland, what does that mean? If we want people to join us, then they need to do that under their own volition. We can't force people to join us. We can ask them politely. We could say, hey, if you join us, we're going to be a benefit to you. We're going to pay you money to join us. People, that would be, if we're beneficial to them, they'll want to do it. Unless they think maybe they're going to lose their cultural identity, or they're going to lose some independence, things like that. Now, from Trump's perspective, they will have nothing if Russia or China or somebody like that decides they're going to take it. Now, would they? Well, in theory, as the globe warms a bit, and ice is melting at the North Pole, then you open trade routes. And so potentially somebody wants to control those trade routes, which would require having something in Greenland would allow for that. Okay, Norway is on the other side, so there's like a passage through there. So somebody who controlled Greenland would control trade, and it would be beneficial for whoever owns that. So would Russia, for example, be willing to take that by force? Absolutely, they would. Greenland can't defend themselves. Ukraine, with the help of NATO, can defend themselves, and Russia still went in and tried to take parts of Ukraine. So if they said, hey, it would be a benefit for us to take Greenland, then they're just going to do it, and nobody's going to be there to stop them. So Trump says, hey, we're going to own it by building there and protecting it. And that will keep somebody else from taking it. And that is recognizing that it's in part of the Western sphere of global dominance, right? Europe, basically NATO. Okay, so it still remains in NATO as long as America stays in NATO. So what's the morality of this? It would be wrong to conquer the cities and subject those people. It would not be morally wrong to colonize land that has not been developed, that nobody is defending or capable of defending. Now, if Denmark says, well, we own that, then they only own it if they can defend it. And the fact is they can't. Now, is that theft? Well, not really, because Trump's trying to buy it. He's not trying to steal it. He's trying to say, I'm going to give you this money. Now, if somebody's go my bottle of water, if I say, this is mine, I'm not selling it. And they say, well, I'll give you $500 for it. Well, I'm going to sell that. For the right price, I will absolutely sell this bottle of water for a lot less than $500. If you want it, I'm not going to sell that because that's like food or something. I don't know. Anyways, that's a different, we're going to move on. Okay. So in this situation, what's the moral thing to do? To prevent animosity between places, then we should offer something that is valuable to Denmark, who claims they own this, right? Or Greenland. Honestly, I don't think Denmark, unless they're defending the people of Greenland, then I don't think they should own Greenland either, right? The idea that a foreign country is going to say, hey, the land you're on, we own that. If it is morally wrong for America to do that, it is also morally wrong for Denmark to do that. So Denmark can't say, we own the Greenlanders, unless they built the cities and maintain the cities and protect the cities. And if the Greenlanders say, hey, you know what? We can do this on our own and we don't need you, it would be morally wrong for Denmark to enforce their rule over them. Okay, now they're giving them benefits, and I'm sure America would offer more benefits because we're a more prosperous country. We have more to offer. Summarizing all of this, is it morally wrong to colonize Greenland? I think absolutely not. I think there's nothing wrong with Trump saying, you know what, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go there, build bases, build cities, and it's ours because we're defending it. Objectively, that would be true. The world would be benefited from it, at least the Western world. The world would be safer because of it. It is morally good to ensure better security in that way. It would be morally wrong to assert dominance over the people there. We don't need to assert dominance over the people of Greenland in order to just colonize the land that's empty. Now, if they're using the land for something, that's a different story, because like the bottle of water, I said, well, I have it, I'm using it in my house, I have it, I'm not there now, but I'm going to use it, and other people will defend it for me if I'm not there. The police would show up, in theory, if they thought something was wrong, if I called them, right? So, in that sense, if people are like using some of the empty land, well, then that should be their land. But if it's empty and nobody's using it, nobody's maintaining it, nobody's defending it, then I don't think anybody objectively owns it. So it's not moral to take something that nobody owns. Just simply saying that's ours does not make it true. So it isn't theft unless it meets all those criteria that I just mentioned. It would be colonization. If we took the cities that are occupied, that would be conquering them. I don't agree with that. I think it would be perfectly fine for us to colonize the empty portions of Greenland and just say, this is ours, recognize it or not, we're going to defend it either way. I think that's morally good. Now, potentially we want access to the cities. That's why this is kind of an issue, because we've got a military base in there. So potentially maybe we need workforce. Maybe Trump wants to do mining there or something like that, or he needs people, and they're like, well, there's people there, we could create jobs that these people might be interested in. It might be mutually beneficial in that way, which is why you would want Greenland to join the United States rather than just take the empty land that's unoccupied. Well, there's their lesson on property rights, essentially, with the objectivity of that. Now, I guess I'd add one more thing. Why do we honor somebody's claim to property? Why is in America property is one of the fundamental rights? Because that is how you survive. I need a place to sleep at night, that I will be safe. That's my house. So we say, hey, they have a fundamental right to have that thing. So we call it a natural right, God-given. I guess not specifically the house, but the ability to gain the house and things like that. I think I've rambled enough. I think I've kind of made all my points. I'm Joseph, the Moral Philosopher. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more things like this, hit subscribe. I've recently done some videos where I talked about immigration, both on the receiving end and as the immigrant himself, the morality around that. I'm going to do some more videos about random things based on morality. If there's any requests, any questions, anything you want me specifically to talk about, then I welcome you. Put it in the comments below. What do you think about Greenland? Should we conquer it? Should we buy it? Should we just colonize the empty land and call it ours? Should we... I think that's kind of the main option. Should we just let somebody else take it, right? Because eventually that's what Trump's afraid of. Somebody will take Greenland. If not us, somebody else. And so, there you go. See you in the next video. I won't see you, because that's not how videos work, but you'll see me.